All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are here. We are in to the semifinals. Yeah. Congratulations, guys. You are all now in the ESL Major League to be starting up in February. The top 8 teams from all the Go4Heroes America's Cups are coming together. We have 6. No, we have 7 teams now confirmed. We are basically still deciding, is it going to be Cloud9 Maelstrom or will it be Team Vivid? They are still actually just fighting themselves out in their maps. But congratulations today to Arc Iliad, Evil Geniuses, and now Glorious Gaming. All 3 teams are going to be joining teams like Team Tempo Storm, the formerly of Symbiote Gaming, Team Barrel Boys, Murlocs Inc., and the other Cloud9, the Cloud9 Vortex. They're all waiting and ready to go in their majors. And today we will find out who the 8th will be. Which means that this is literally for seeding points and a chance at $500 into the finals, which will be covered there by Solid Jake over on his channel. And, you know, winner of this moves on. But basically the big accomplishment is that they're now in the league and they have the chance at $5,000 prize pool coming up, courtesy of ESL. It's fantastic news. Congratulations. Well deserved. This map, however, again, for seeding for a chance at $500 today. Game number 1 of this best of 3 is going to Sky Temple, and it will be Glorious and Evil Geniuses. Let's get this draft rolling, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm actually not entirely too sure. I have the right sides. Evil Geniuses, I think, went first. So I will just confirm that here with the draft. But bans on the table. Going to be Evil Geniuses banning out the Tychus. Not really too much of a surprise. Tychus, of course, one of the bigger DPS ranged assassins that you could forever get on your team. But the flip side, Glorious says, we know what ZP's up to. He was our team captain for a long time. Glorious is going to ban out the Kerrigan. So we might actually see a Zeratul. We might see ZPs on an Arthas. He plays a wide range of heroes. And I did get these right because we're into, yeah, all right, cool. First pick, though, because there's no Stitches and there's no Tassadar ban, it's going to be one or the other. And actually, the first pick up here from Evil Geniuses was Tassadar. So not entirely too sure which hero or which player is going to be playing that hero. Could be an Idra, but we'll have to see if there's going to be a Vala to follow it up. And actually there won't, because on the flip side, Gloria says, we're going to take a Vala, we're going to take ourselves an Arthas. So they're going to be just absolutely flying with a good frontliner there. The Arthas likes to walk away from never dying. And at the same time, we are going to have, again, a Vala, which is, you know, Vala has really kind of taken the number 1 DPS pick. It's almost silly a little bit in terms of just how much she can do for you as a team. So they're going to be picking up the Arthas. They got themselves that Vala. Flip side, Evil Geniuses says, you take my Kerrigan, I take my Zeratul. And that's actually a fantastic pickup then as well, because the stealth advantage is a huge map. If you don't have the Zeratul eyes, you're not really going to keep super on top of exactly where he is, which means he could be popping up in your back line. He could be void prisoning for the boss. He could be holding down a point on one of the Sky temples. And he's being paired up with the Tassadar. I mean, these guys never really saw eye to eye a lot in the campaign, but today they are going to be putting their differences aside and they're going to team up, which means that we also now don't have any kind of Oracle kind of pressure that we can have from Glorious on top of the Zeratul. So far he should be fairly safe. Of course, he does have to tiptoe around that Arthas, because with the Arthas Tempest, he can kind of just knock anybody out of stealth. Anybody that he wants at all. And we also need a frontliner here, so Evil Geniuses says it's going to be a Tyrael, which means that we have both of our Bash Bros there on the table. I'm a little curious that nobody went for the Stitches. But as I say that, Glorious is like, I don't know why you didn't go for the Stitches, bro. It's clearly on the table. The Arthas Stitches Wombo is fairly scary. You get in the hook into the gorge, you start tottering back a little bit because you're just a big fat blob with a guy inside. You spit him out into the Howling, you spit him out into the Tempest, into a Rain of Vengeance, into, you know, whatever else kind of things that we can put on top of this. And, you know, speaking of on top of it, could be a zombie wall to go with it. So Glorious has actually a really nice frontline setup, and then for their backline they got the Vala, and the Nazebo. I wouldn't be too surprised to see a Brightwing be coming out in the next few picks, as well as a Falstead, both of them with the mobility advantage on a very big map like Sky Temple. It comes out extremely strong. So coming out into that, it will likely be, I want to say actually both of them could go here with Evil Geniuses, but they might actually go with an Uther as well. If an Uther gets hooked into the Wombo combos, he can just Divine Storm, which means he could be putting himself out there as the bait as well. And you kill out the Uther and he just becomes a ghost anyways. And yeah, it is actually going to be the Uther pickup here from Evil Geniuses, and not exactly something that I saw coming out. It will be not, why did I click Jaina? It's a Nova, not a Jaina. I can't retract that, not easily. So pretend that's a Nova. Pretend that's a Nova. God, that's really, yeah, screw it. We're just gonna reset. So yeah, so sorry guys. I clicked the wrong button and I don't have a rewind available to me. So yeah, derp, my bad. Tassadar into the Vala of Arthas, great Zeratul and Material into a Stitches Nazebo. And that was a Nova. Nova and the Uther. Oh, it reset the sides too. I'm really bad at this today. The last pickup, however, is going to be a Rhaegar. Yeah. God, I'm really bad at this today. Bam. All right, those are your teams. That is the draft. They have a 2 minutes request here. Somebody has to go to the bathroom. So we'll look a little bit more here. Haven't really seen a double roaming stealth combo in high meta NA in a long time. There's a lot of ways that you can't really apply a lot of pressure on some of the maps. So back in the blind map picking, like you're basically forcing everyone to do a 1-1-1 with a double roam because you want to use that stealth advantage, right? I haven't really seen a roam like this in a while for Evil Geniuses, and I guess they're going to try to use their stealth to their advantage to try to set up very nicely for some of these temples, because the Sky Temple is basically a map where temples start activating and you got to go fight the things on it. They're not good fighters. I mean, the Zeratul is okay. He can probably take out a point by himself, but the Nova? No, absolutely not. A Nova cannot solo out any of these temples, especially if she goes into, what's it called now? Anti-armor shells. It used to be called the hot shots, but it's now called the anti-armor shells. And that increases your delay between attacks by 250%, but it also increases your damage of your attacks by 250%. So we'll see how that goes. It used to be 330, now it's 250. Of course, Nova did get nerfed as well with the Jaina patch. There's no more rewind combos. She can still pack a punch at level 16 with overdrive. But even then, sometimes we don't see those overdrives. Sometimes we're actually seeing more like clone builds these days, but we'll see. I've also seen Dunk Train personally take Nova with advanced cloaking, which is the health regeneration and movement speed bonus when you're cloaked. So there's still a lot of ways that you can actually play this out. You're very curious to see which way Evil Geniuses will go. And I think we're actually back in the bio break, so Mirak is thinking about going. And yeah, everyone's just so chummy in the chat. Glorious, though. They bring out the Fight Dog, and in a big map where you need mobility, the Fight Dog kind of comes up a little short there because he can't go from one end to the other very quickly. But he is still amongst my favorite characters. He can definitely do the healing, and with a good solid front line there, an Ancestral in the back, and lots of heals, this could be a very tanky, glorious lineup. So we'll have to see who's going to pop it out. Is it going to be the double tank with heals in the back, or will it be this double stealth roam combo from Evil Geniuses? Winner of this moves on to the finals, where they have a chance at $500, and of course, all of their seeding points going into the ESL Majors. Not entirely too sure which way it'll go as of yet, because we have yet to see really like a hugely dominant strat here on Sky Temple, other than, just get all the temples. I mean, that's just a really good way to go, regardless. So who is it going to be? Glorious, Evil Geniuses. Put your bets down, ladies and gentlemen, as we're jumping into this game. There's also a little bit of a rivalry going on here. ZPs used to be part of Glorious. Now he's been playing fairly consistently now with Evil Geniuses. So is there drama there? I don't know. But it's definitely a previous team beef that this match will, kind of decide a little bit. Who's the better team? Who has the new, better roster? And I'm very excited to get this game number 1 off the ground. And it is glorious here on the blue, so we are good to go on that front. In the blue, guys, just like just said right now, Syracuse, Zizix, Cothenluck, Nirak, and FourCourtJester being played out on that Arthas. They're all kind of thinking about what lanes to go. On the flip side, though, red, it is going to be an Idra Tassadar. You didn't get that Vala, so Tassadar it is. Kawhi Rice, LZ Gamer, ZPs, and Faye with that double stealth. Very risky build, I want to say, but hey, maybe double stealth's the way to go on a map where you have to, cap points, but we'll see. Both of our stealthers going to go into the bottom lane. They're going straight into the bush, so they might actually be looking just to insta-give whoever they send into this bottom lane, which right now is going to be the Nazebo. So the Witch Doctor is a fairly squishy target with no built-in escapes. He pushes out far enough, and it could be game over. LZ Gamer doing the creep blocking thing, Idra doing the creep blocking thing, and Kawhi Rice is going to be heading up against Cothenluck here in the mid. Take a quick look at some of the talents. Death Ritual, which is not unsurprising. Chew your food, so more and more heals here for the Zizix. Where's the Witch Doctor? Where'd he go? Actually, he went into mid on the Syracuse. All right, fair enough. So Syracuse there, and it's a triple mid. Okay, so I think we're going to be seeing big pressure here from Glorious on top of this mid camp. But we'll get to that in due time. Gothenluck doesn't either know what he wants for that first town, or he forgot to skill it, and he hit it. Not entirely too sure. Healing Totem, Frozen Wastes. Not really too much of a surprise going back and forth. Watchtower is actually going to go the way of red, and that actually should be a big thing here for Protege to say, all right, there's somebody right under them, and it doesn't matter if they're both stealth, you can't see them. Nirak is going to find ZPs right here, but that's going to be a multi-shot, just knocks him out of stealth, and so far the double stealth hasn't really done much. We do got the ambush snipe, some more damage when you come out of this cloak. Psi Infusion for the mana return, not the range increase, okay. Block on the Zeratul. I wonder if we're going to see a bit more of a beefier ZP Zeratul this round, but the Conjure's Pursuit, Purge, Evil. All right, so why do you put a lot of people into this mid turret, and why is nobody fighting over the top one? Well, the mid turret here, or the mid temple, will actually destroy these turrets and this guy, whereas the top would destroy these turrets and the pool. So you can get 3 turrets for 1 temple in the mid. That's why we're seeing such a big, glorious push here into it. A lot of Glorious is actually still soaking. So we got Protege soaking here into the mid, not even bothering with this top at all. And we actually still had the Stitches bottom, but now he's coming top here as well. So we might be going, because it was such a late cap up here, it looks like we're actually going to have Glorious take the mid, take the Watchtower, and now they're going to actually come up here and look for the money shot, because Evil Geniuses just kind of came a little bit slow to that party, which is going to be some massive tower damage, and that's going to be the experience lead as well for Glorious. So they do get the double money shots. They do get the bigger of the trades here early. They had the Tyrael into the bottom, but he's now come up. The Stitches have come up there as well. So we're not soaking nearly as much as we could be here from Evil Geniuses, but it looks like they're just going to eat it and move on. We do got now the Bruisers being taken care of, Nirak and Zizix. They're going to, I want to say they're going to delay that cap and wait for the next push, because if you get these Bruisers pushed up into the top and then the bottom shrine activates, that's a really good opportunity to either keep someone out of the fight or get yourself, with this damaged front gate, another tower, perhaps even some really good fort damage. But I think it's too early in the game for a big fort to go down to those Bruisers regardless. Faye and ZPs using their stealth to try to gain some jungle control of their own. They're going to get the Stone Bros here. That will push out the bottom lane. And Idra's going to try his best to lane clear this top with those Psi Infusion, the mana return. Oh, not the range. Well, I mean, the range really doesn't matter too much on this map. There's like nothing for you to interrupt. It would just be more of an annoyance factor. So with the mana return, he's just going to be looking to stay a bit more into the fight, long run. Protege is way too far forward. He gets hit by the double stealth. He will poison out ZPs with the Envenom, which is right there. And he will go down to the first blood. But that's only one kill. It's still very much a glorious advantage. We're not soaking the top. Well, okay, Syracuse is actually going to come up and try to soak as best he can. But, you know, if he's top lane, he's not going to be bottom. And we are going to have those shrines popping out in fairly short order. The bottom Stone Bros were cleaned up here by Glorious. They got their own Stone Bros now throwing out very muscular, kind of rigid golems. They just keep breaking off parts of this obelisk and chucking it. It's actually really fantastic art-wise to see. Syracuse and Faye going to be doing out a bit in the top, but here comes the temple. Glorious is definitely more in position to grab it, but they've lost the experience advantage a little bit now because they weren't soaking nearly as much, or they haven't taken as many creep camps. But now, see, this is a much better top lane push with these bruisers. Because the problem here is that Glorious, they're all bottom. And, well, you know, they're not top. And the top is being pushed in now with Idra, with Faye. It looks like they're giving up the temple immediately, and they're going to try to trade out the forts. And they're going to be very successful in trading out the forts because, you know, Nirak and Coffin Lock, they're down here. They're going to make sure it's going to happen. We got level 10s now on both sides. Is that going to be a hook for LZ? It's not going to be a Gorge. It's actually Future Bile for Zizix. But there we go. We are going to trade out the forts, and they're going to just push in a little bit there to the keeps. Level 10 on both sides. The money shot now is going to go out, hits the mid. The mid not looking so healthy. But as I said, level 10, both sides. Zizix just kind of walks forward, gets CC down immediately. Good Void Prison on top of Proteges in Iraq as well, keeping them at bay. And it's just going to be a free kill going the way of Evil Geniuses. So they got a kill on the Arthas. They got a kill on the Stitches. It was a good collapse. They spent 2 ults to grab it, and Stitches is going to be out for 10. So, you know, let's take this time. Let's look at the ults. Ravenous Spirit, Putrid Bile, Stray, Ancestral Healing, Army of the Dead. Good stuff coming out. But it's not a Gorge. It's actually the Bile. And the Bile is going to be great for the zoning control. In the fights, it also puts down like a DPS carpet that the Stealthers are going to have to keep mucking their way through, especially the Zeratul. And it will keep knocking them out of the stealth as well. And later on at level 20, it will actually heal him unless he takes Blink. And though he'll very likely take the Blink instead. Zizix gets body blocked immediately there by ZPs. Has to. He actually throws down the Bile as well. The Bile and the Devour came out really big. Good hook on top of Faye as well. And again, that carpet on the floor. Faye couldn't stealth. Couldn't use those decoys to try to fake people out. Couldn't stealth and got hooked in the end of it all. Gave him the vision. And that's going to be putting us now 2 kills on the board here for Glorious. They are really on top of it. I mean, they died out with those big picks there from the EG. But now they've equalized the kills, and they're going for their second fort, and they're going to get it uncontested as Evil Geniuses went for the Stone Bros instead. LZ is going to get caught by the Howling Blast, but he's going to be all right. We don't have a fishing hook here from Zizix, so it's not going to be near enough to pick up the Angel. But that is going to put the experience advantage back with Glorious, and they're going to hit 13. Let's see what they take at the 13 tier. Ice Block for the Ravenous. So we've actually sufficiently scared Nazeebo with the double stealth pressure to say that anytime that he gets caught alone with these, he needs a defensive option to deal with it. We also have Ethereal on the other side as well. Ethereal into a Wombo could be a very dead Witch Doctor. The Ice Block with perfect timing will be able to negate a lot of that combo. It won't save a Ravenous. If he has to use it during a Ravenous, it will obviously cut it off. But he will live. So that's actually an interesting pickup. We'll have to see if it works out for him, as both of our temples, top and bottom, have actually now come to fruition. Arthas with Rune Tap, which he does have. Rune Tap, Army of the Dead, Relentless. You know, very common kind of things here. He can actually solo out a lane, but here comes the double Stealthers. He does have that Army of the Dead ready to go. ZPs and Faye. I mean, that was a precision strike out of Faye. It's not going to be enough for the kill on top of the Arthas, but it was enough to get him off the point. The Stealthers are in trouble. Nirak cannot quite catch up with that lightning shield, so they can't knock him out of the stealth. Instead, it's going to be a Void Prison taking home Nirak and Syracuse. So Arthas goes back. Again, he can solo this 100%. He's A-okay, and even with the double stealth ambush, he did not die. So the shrines will be traded out 1 for 1 from both teams. Let's take a quick look at the Stitches. Chew Your Food, Amplified Healing, Tenderizer, Putrid Bile into Mega Smash. It's probably going to be the Stun Smash there as well. for the lockup. I'd be very surprised to see a fishing hook, but mostly because I just haven't really seen Zizix landing big hooks, like the big moment-defining hooks. He got one on the Fae, but the Fae was dead, basically, anyways. So curious to see if that will come up. Spell Shield from the Vala. They really are fearing out this double stealth combo. The Spell Shield will negate the first damage by 50%. And then anything else past that for another 2 seconds. So the big double bomb combos from Zeratul, the big snipe into precision, all 50% damage because of that Spell Shield. Koth and Luck fearing the double stealth. Syracuse feeling a little vulnerable with the double stealth. We do got Feral Lunge, and it's not quite a fight dog. He doesn't have the Feral Heart. He does have the Farsight, and the Farsight is a really nice pickup there as well because there is double stealth on the field, and there was already an Uther pick. So the last pick, Rhaegar for the heals, as well for the Farsight, because he gets it also a tier earlier. Boom, right there. Finds ZPs, easy peasy. They know where the team is, and that's how you do it. The Feral Lunge is going to be a little bit of extra DPS burst, as well as the lunge is, a great gap closer. You lunge in. Level 16 is probably going to be an Earthroot Grasp, if I had to take a bet. And it's a really nice setup there for usually a melee or a heavy back end, but in this point, it'll just be for Koth and Luck and Syracuse so that they have a little bit more survivability, a little bit more security when it comes to some of these team fights. Zizix, again, he's looking for these hooks, is not going to quite find them. We got the push here from Glorious. They're moving in on top of this keep with some Stone Bros in the back. They got the 16. Blood for blood, specialized toxin. There's the pulverize, so it's not going to be the fishing hook. He is just going to go for the stun slam, which again, I think is a fantastic option in this case. And Lightning Bond. Not what I expected from the fight dog. So the Lightning Bond for the shield will also shield the Rhaegar with any talent bonuses. And if you see here, the talent bonus for Earth Shield is, of course, Lightning Shield gives a shield. So he's going to be shielding himself at the same time in some of these fights. Niraka is the guy that gets hit by the Void Prison. Proteges is living through a lot of this. LZ Gamer into the back, tried to actually stop out Syracuse. He's just going to lose his life for it. Syracuse is going to get blown up on. Nice Ancestral. That's not the Fae, though. It's only a Hollow Vision. And Proteges is going to live skin of his teeth. 1155 Precision Strike was not enough for a kill. And it looks like they're just going to trade out their tanks 1 for 1. As we're still looking for this big pressure mid on top of this shrine. We have, we have a shrine, we have a temple up here. Nobody cares. And going back and forth, Kawhi Rice and crew, they're the ones actually contesting these Guardians. But Niraki just sneakily jumps onto the point. It's now going to start working away on this keep and the fountain and tower. And it looks like that will be enough. Evil Geniuses is going to regroup with their Tychus. They're probably going to head top, I have to guess. But they traded out 1 for 1. It's a very even game going back and forth, but some skin of the teeth going back, plays from both sides. Now, the Void Prison wasn't exactly a success. I think that was the biggest problem there with the Evil Geniuses. And now, here they go. They go for the re-engage. Proteges is not going to get out of that one. Neither is Kawhi Rice or I think LZ Gamer. I think he is. Yeah, they got his number there with the hook. Looking for the stun slam. Doesn't need it. Auto attacks are going to be enough. Interior is going to pop on nobody. ZP's going in here with that wormhole. Unfortunately, it wasn't that far. Now Koth and Luck is going to be on the pursuit. Does have a multi-shot, like, virtually ready to go. He has the battle momentum anyways. And he's looking for ZPs. And the 3-second delay on stealth is actually massive. Koth and Luck, however, came to the wrong neighborhood. ZPs was able to kite him out, and then we had the collapse. So again, we trade out evenly with the teams, 2 for 2, but once again, we have Glorious taking these temples and starting to work away again on the keeps here, and the gates, and the towers of Evil Genius. Nazebo did not live. He did die there. Nirak and Zizix are kind of in this bigger sandwich. ZPs is going to be able to get off 1 auto attack, and the Void Prison will keep Proteges out of it as well. It will also make sure that no more green carpet is going to be spread out in ZPs with a much better Void Prison that round. They get the kill. We now still have Zizix on this point. Red is not contesting these points whatsoever. The tower damage is starting to really rack up, but I don't think Zizix is getting out of this one, especially after that Divine Storm. Protojays now could be in some bigger trouble here as well. There's the charge. Cast aside, not exactly where he needed it, but Protojays have been sacrificing these ghouls left, right, and center. Good slows with the cripple shot there. Protojays decides to turn around on top of Faye. Good shield, though, from the Tassadar, and Faye is going to be able to walk out as we have now finally a little bit more of a decisive fight. 3 kills null in that last exchange for Evil Geniuses. And experience is basically even. It's even going back and forth. There's no keeps down, but there's like no gates here for Evil Geniuses at all. We still have this fort. The mule from Nazeebo has been working overtime, trying to just defend against a lot of this tower pressure. But Cawthon Luck, you do not want to be there, sir. Even with Nirak, you still don't want to be here. The boss going down here for Evil Geniuses is almost guaranteed. We don't have the Void Prison for blue. It is, of course, for red, and it's on cooldown anyways, but boss hype, he's now going to be pushing down this bottom lane. Look at that Serpent Head. Art team did a fantastic job on this map. Level 16 talents for both sides as they're both about to hit 19. Evil Geniuses slightly more in the lead in that regard. It is a cripple shot, so the vulnerability at 16 with a lethal decoy. So decoys now do a 25% damage on the Nova. She also has the anti-armor shells, so the 250% bonus is being applied. This is basically the build of Tassadars these days, but it was Psion Fusion instead of Psionic Storm Reach, which name of it actually escapes me off the top of my head, but it's been working out good for Idris and keeping up more of his mana because of it. The Zeratul, other than the block first level, everything else has been pretty even. Wormhole, double bombs. He has the Rending Cleave instead of the First Aid, so he took the block instead of the First Aid. So instead of Greater Cleave or the 2-second cooldown reduction on Blink, he has the block. So doesn't feel like he needs the First Aid. And I gotta say, I mean, the ZP Zeratul has been pretty on point. I'd say he's hitting most of his Void Prisons. There's one that was a little bit shaky, but we'll have to see what this next one looks like. ZP is going to get chased off there by the Protege. We do have Holy Shot on the Nova, on the Uther. That's not something you see every day. We'll have to see what it's going to come down to. Nirak again is going to get hit by the Void Prison, but it doesn't hit Syracuse. Here comes now the Ravenous because we already used the Judgment. Uther down. That's going to be a dead Zeratul on the back of it as well. So perhaps the Caster Curse coming out. Shouldn't have been talking about those VPs going back and forth. And Glorious is going to have an uncontested point. That's going to be 1 keep. That is probably only the 1 keep. The bottom is looking pretty healthy as well. There's not that many shots left. We got the money shot left, though. And level 20 hype. Glorious. They've actually reversed the experience lead again. And it is very much in their favor as they're going for a steal on top of the Bruisers. Blink and Blink. We got the Divine Hurricane into Angel of Justice. We did get the Blood for Blood Ontario at 16. So good for him. More damage, less utility, but damage is damage. It's also another great slow. So you can slow out, the Tassadar, flip side. Slow out the Arthas, slow out the Stitches, make sure that they stay in range of all this damage. Top keep is now going to drop there as well. So 2 keeps down here for Evil Geniuses. They are very much in danger of actually dropping this first game. But they do got level 20 now on both sides. So what does Glorious get? Annihilating Spirit, Regenerative Bile. So it is the Regenerative Bile. Heals for 50%. That Bile on a good team fight will keep you up so hard. It's absolutely insane. Bolt, Storm Shield on the Fight Dog, not a surprise, and Legion of Northrend. So 3 more ghouls, and they last 50% longer. It's like Arthas and... it could almost be a band. The Arthas and the Frost Ghouls. Use sleeper hits, like Om Nom Nom, chew your food. Stitches is definitely a big fan of that one. ZPs, he's looking for this hook. And yeah, he's actually going to use out the Blink on the Death Coil. It doesn't matter though. It's still hit, but no hook. And the next spawn, I believe, is random on our shrines. And it looks like it's going to be mid and bottom. So If we take both shrines from Glorious, Glorious will win straight up. If Evil Geniuses cannot contest one of these shrines, they're going to lose keep. Whereas we still have 3 keeps of, wow, we have almost the entire base left here of Glorious. So it's going to be up to Evil Geniuses. They got to get these kills. They got to get one of these shrines for sure, if not both. Zizix perhaps a little bit too aggressive. Throw down his bile to no effect. Lasts a heck of a long time, my goodness. And Evil Geniuses just come right back into it after that ult is done. ZP's in the back. He gets Nirak again. Here comes the Divine Storm. The big burst on top of Proteges will be enough to take down the Lich King, but Ravenous in the far back there from the Syracuse did the damage. Blink though from Cawthon Lux. He's looking to run away. Faye though has his number. That's going to be a kill. Kawhi Rice really low. We got a Guardian in the back of all this as well. Idra not even hurt at this point as LZ Gamer is now running for his life. It's a 2-for-1 exchange. LZ has already used out the sword, so we're going to make that a 2-for-2. And in the long run, it will be once more the Shrine in control of Glorious as they're starting to work their way on this core. How many shots are left? This could be actually very close to game ending. This is going to be very close. And if Evil Geniuses doesn't get to this top one in time, Glorious is just going to straight out win. Here comes the money shot. 21%. Idra is so late on that shot, that shield. 21%. Kawhi Rice is not going to be able to hold this. Not with 2 team members dead. We're going to need the full might of Evil Geniuses to bring out all the stops. But what can they do? They're going to try the wombo. They take down Mirax so close. The Storm Shield and the it's going to be enough to get him out of dodge. There's not going to be a kill. Evil Geniuses is basically done. 5%, and they got triple catapults working on the core. That is going to be it as Glorious takes game number 1 in this best of 3. Stitches is too fat. It looks like it's a curious victory as Stitches has massive calves and ankles. But it is a glorious victory as they take game number 1. Really well played from Glorious, I gotta say. They held their advantages. They went even on a lot of the kills. In fact, actually, I would say that they were actually less on the kills. 9 kills for Nirak, 11 for Faye. Idra didn't die. He went 11-0, but still, the down in the kills, even in most of the fights, but every single shrine went the way of Glorious. After almost every fight, it was still Glorious on the point, and their tower damage and their gate damage was just enough to get to the keeps, and the keeps didn't live. Well, we saw the core. The one shrine brought the core down to 21%. Absolutely nuts kind of game going back and forth, and the double tank was enough here. The double stealth was not. So if there's anything to take away from this, guys, again, bigger, beefier comps can definitely do good on defend the point scenarios. I hear Gazlo's god tier on this map, but fortunately we didn't get to see him. Oh well, c'est la vie. Either way, we will have a game number 2 coming at you, possibly our last game of the night, as I do not believe I'm covering the finals. I believe that will be the Jack Egg. Or the Solid Jake. And so we'll see. Will it be 2-0 Glorious? Will it be 1-1? It's still anybody's game. These teams are both really good. And when we come back, we will see what's going to happen in game number 2. So don't go anywhere.